Welcome everybody, François Le JDR-D30, and making a video response to Condor DM, who have sent me a series of questions, a tag video. These are players' questions, players' side of view, the point of view. So I will try to answer them as shortly as I can, because there's 15 questions that need some development. And I will try to make it short. I will try to make in the description probably some kind of a table of content of every answer, so you won't have to see all the video in one shot. You can see it questions by questions. I'm happy to have that video about players. There's not much video for players stuff on YouTube. The last 2 years I was more of a player than a game master, and it was quite a change, because I was always a game master before. Yes, I was involved in some games, but it never have been for that long. Now it's been 2 years. I've been involved in 2 big campaigns so far, and so I'm very happy to answer that. And when I began to play role-playing games, I think I always wanted to be the player more than the game master, because I like to be in the player's chair. But I happened to be the game master because if I wanted some games to happen, I had to do it myself. I was the most motivated wanting to have role-playing games, and so I had to do it myself. So I kind of became the game master, and the eternal game master. I was the one driving the others into playing. And most of the game I've ran were games that I would have wished I was a player in. So let's begin with the small introduction with the first question. Are you a player that is also a game master? Yes, I have already answered that question. I'm both. And I enjoy being in both seats. In fact, I enjoy it equally. I enjoy as much being the player as to be the game master. And I have a message for those game masters who claims that they prefer to be the game master over to be the player. I think you should try to find a way to enjoy being the player as much as being the game master, because I think there's a lot to learn. Often we are the game master because we like to be in control. We want to create the world. Okay, we want that position of control. But in my opinion, when you are a player, it's a different kind of control, but you have as much control as a game master. Instead of putting that into a whole world, you put that into only one character, and it can be as rich and as full as a whole world. So I think it's trying to find your way to enjoy being the player as much as the game master. There's a lot to learn there. When being a player who is also a game master, I can bring a lot to the table too. And I bring a lot to those fellow players who will never be the game masters. I try to bring them with me into playing, being involved in the game, because I know what it means when you are a player that is also a game master. I know what it means for a game master to prepare the game, and it needs some game feedback in game, and it's helping the other players to give that feedback to the game master. It's a way to cheer him up in a sense. So yeah, that's what I have to say about being a player and also a game master. Question 2. What do you prefer more? Interaction, roleplay, combat, puzzle, traps, or a mix? I'd say that roleplay is what brings me here. Okay, roleplay is what is making that game different from all the others. Because combat, you can have that in other types of games. There are some board games, miniature battle game, a computer game, and you can have puzzles, trap, and any other kind of game, which will be great. But having that in role-playing game with the role-play aspect over it, it's what makes this game special. So yeah, role-play is my preferred mode. I enjoy them all, but yeah, why am I here? It's because of the role play and the interaction. You know, the freedom of what role playing can bring. Question 3. Would you like to, or do you think you should have a say over the rules of the game you're playing? As a player, well, not during game, that's for sure. Usually it's the game master that decides what rules are to be used. But as a player, if you are uncomfortable with a rule, if you think that rule spoils a little your enjoyment of the game, it has to be discussed with your game master after the game, between sessions. But the game master, in my opinion, has the final say over the rules you're bringing. As a player, I usually go by what the game master will say, because he's the one who's messing the most with the rules, so he has to be comfortable with the tool he's using. So as a player, I may discuss some rules that I find that I'm not comfortable with, but if in the end the game master decides to keep it, I have to go with that and try to find my way with that rule. But yeah, and you know, talking about rules to change, having a say over it, I'd say I never try to change rules that will save my character asses, or will put my character into an advantage. You know, rules that will power game that would power game my character. It's always rules that spoils the tone of the game. You know, the kind of setting it is and all that. Yeah. Question 4. Would you like to, or do you think you should have a say over story and world you're playing in? Depends on how open-minded your game master is about this one. He should have a final say, but on the other end, players can bring a lot to a game. Let's take for example, if you are using a homebrewed world, and the game master has just made a map of a region, you can come up with your character and say, oh, you know, the ring I got is from my cousin who lives in the far north, and yeah, he lives there. And then you begin to describe a part of the map that is not yet created. In a homebrewed world, it may happen if the game master is open-minded enough to let that in, and probably you have created a nation from there. If you are into an established setting, homebrewed or something from the outside, like, well, a known fiction and all that, I think you should be coherent if you want to bring something that will change what is established. And if the game master, of course, is open-minded enough, maybe you could, yeah, bring some stuff that are not supposed to be there, okay? But you should work out. As a player, I will provide a background and you know, arguments, and with the background that would justify the thing I have brought, you know, the new thing that I have brought to that world, to the story. But in the end, it's between game sessions that has to be discussed with the game master. And yeah, and the game master may have a say over what you bring. There's some kind of compromise to have with your game master here when you're a player, and that's the way I do it. You know, I may bring something to the table, to the game master, propose that, and the game master will come up with his version of it to fit the world. But there's a discussion to have, in my opinion. You know, I have an example in Pathfinder. I have to create my order. My Knight order. So yeah, I brought some ideas about it, but the game master, you know, just made the fine-tuning of all of it to make it coherent in the world he's in. And you know, the farther away you are from something established, the more work as a player you have to put, in my opinion. You have to put lots of work to make that strangeness pass into the world as it is, or the story. Yeah, that's what I have to say about it. Question 5. Opinions about railroading, as they call it. As a player, I think players usually wants their freedom of choice with their characters, and railroading often means that it may remove some freedom, okay? I don't mind as a player being pushed in the direction to go into the story of the game master, but as a player, I ask the game master to work a little to hook my character in, okay? I have created a character, he has motivations in life, he has stuff he wants to do. So if you want me to go into that quest, well, just don't say that I'm already on the road to do the quest. Make the introduction and, you know, and make the interaction and stuff that happens that will hook my character. You know, trying to get my character involved in the role-playing way, in a sense. Yeah, because you know, if the game master say no, you're there and that's the way you go, you don't have a choice. Well, it's lacking freedom. Okay, I had an example in my mind. Yeah. No, if I happen to create, it's an example, yeah. Let's say I have created a neutral evil rogue, okay? Okay, you know what I mean? And the game master say, okay, I have bought a mission, and in that mission, you're going to get a holy artifact, and you have to work with paladins and all that. I would say, whoa, my character is not interested in that. Yeah, there's a discussion to have to have my character involved in that kind of adventure. So the game master from point A to B, he has to do that to get me there. I'm okay with that. That's the kind of railroading, but railroading with, you know, stuff that would fit my character. You know, trying to have my character having the feeling of being involved in that. Okay, you want me to go to point B? Perfect. Give me the feeling that I'm involved into what's happening. So that's the kind of railroad I'm comfortable with as a player. And when I see that coming, usually I role play my stuff. I'm okay with going where he wants me to go, but I will do lots of stuff in character to get me there. But it happened in some games that the game master wanted us to go somewhere, but my character wasn't the type of character who would go there, and he had to quit the game, unfortunately, because he wasn't able to get us in. But he asked for us to create whatever we wanted. So at the start, we had a hard time matching together. So we weren't coherent as a group as a start, because we had all different objectives and goals, and yeah, so he wanted us to go there, and yeah, he put us something in front of us. He wanted us to interact with it, but my character would say, well, no, I don't want to go there, and yeah, he had to quit. So yeah, it's because the game master, in my opinion, didn't work his way through our character. Okay. Next question. 6. Thoughts on campaigns and one-shots. Do you prefer one more than the other, or fine with either? Well, I like one-shots. I like to be involved in one-shots. For me, it's a way to try some new games I haven't tried. But I have a preference for campaigns. Campaigns, that's where, you know, the power of the player over his character. You know, the power that is as powerful as a game master power, putting that into your character. Well, you see that going in a campaign, because you see your character evolve and change and being challenged in these convictions and all that, and you can only see that when you play in a campaign. And I'm not talking here about experience point and gaining levels. It's way more than that. You know, having the full experience and taking the time to go through many steps of your character lives, That's the best thing, I think, when you play role-playing games. I don't mind one-shots, I like them, but often I will end up a one-shot, and if I have enjoyed myself, I would want to make some kind of a comeback later with this character if I had to replay a game of that type. Yeah. 7. Do you have a favorite spellcasting system? Okay, I have to admit something here. I have a problem with spellcasting system in general, and I really don't know why, because I love magic in fantasy, but it always have been some kind of something that I don't know why, but I just can't figure out the way it is. I'm always confused, okay, I don't know why. So I like it simple, okay? You know, my favorite spellcasting system is in D&D, you know, levels with spell slots and spell levels associated with that. For me, that's perfect, okay? I know where to go with that. And I like to, you know, point by magic point spent and rolling to see if you succeed. As in basic role-playing or advanced fighting fantasies like that too. So I go with simple stuff like that as a player. Personally, you know, I know there are spell casting systems in some games that are totally freeform. You create your spell on the fly, and I don't know why I'm not comfortable with it. I'd like to be, you know, it's in my bucket list of stuff I wish I would be better, is to a better understanding on magic system in role-playing games. So yeah, one day I will be able to talk better about it. But for now, the D&D system, Vention, is perfect for me. 8. What's your favorite timeline genre? Why, fantasy, I really like fantasy, and there's a genre I haven't played as much as I would have wanted. There's lots of word here. Swashbucklers, you know, I'm a big fan of swashbucklers, the Three Musketeers, stuff like that. I really like that, and yeah, that's a timeline I really like. I love Call of Cthulhu as a player, you know, the 20s, I'm really into it. I like science fiction in general. Well, for me, it's more easy to talk about the timeline that are not my favorite. No, I'm not a fan of World of Darkness in general. I don't say that I will never play it as a player, but I have no kind of spontaneous attraction to it. But never say never. Maybe I will do that. And kitchen sink kind of genre like Shadowrun or Rift. I'm not a big fan of those big mix. Okay, the closest mix I think I would be ready to go in. It's a supplement that was for 3rd edition that was called I think it was called Dragon Star, which was a science fiction but with D&D races and classes. I like that one, but it's not my favorite though. So you know what are my favorites? Swashbuckling, fantasy, science fiction in general, I like that, and Call of Cthulhu, of course. I'm not a big fan of horror in general. It's not that I don't like the genre outside role-playing game, but I like to be the hero. Yeah, the genre. What kind of genre? I like to be the good guy. I like to be the hero. I like to make the day. Okay. In real life, I wish I could bring more to the real world and make it better. So a role-playing game is a way for me to fantasize about it. I don't want to be the bad guy necessarily. Never say never. Maybe I will do evil campaigns sometime. But I like to be the good guy, because being the bad guy, there's so much bad stuff going around in real life. If I want to go into a fantasy world, I want to crush that evil, in a sense. That's what I like. Yeah. 9. Favorite rule set. As a player, It's different than as a game master a little. You know, as a game master, I talk a lot about D6 system. I could say the same for a player, but I think my favorite game system, the one that I am more comfortable with, it's basic role playing or any percentile based game. Yeah, I like that. For me, it's easy to follow. I can really work my character fully with that. For me, the numbers are talking to me. It makes sense to me what is on the character sheet. So basic role playing has always been some kind of a favorite. As a player, I wish I would play Advanced Fighting Fantasy. I'm a game master of that, but as a player, I wish I could do that. Yeah, but my favorite, I think my favorite is, yeah, basic role playing is something that I really like. 10. Please share your thoughts on live play, thoughts on public gaming, and thoughts on private gaming. Do you prefer one more than the other? What's your experience with these styles of play, if any? Let's begin with live play. You know, it's quite new for me. Well, it's been a year and a half since I began to do that. And I see lots of good points about live play. It's the easiness to find good players. Well, when you are involved in the right community, online community, you can find the right players. It's convenient. You're at home. You don't have to go elsewhere. And yeah, you know, if I take the Dark Eye example, for me it's an international game. You know, the game master is German. Two of the players are from the United States. I'm Canadian. So for me, you know, I've never thought I would have played with people all around the world like that. And it's a very thrilling experience. You know, I really enjoy that game. I enjoy playing with those guys. And yeah, so there's lots of good stuff going around. I think the downsides of live play is that you're not there. Okay, yeah, you know when you play with people, you can kind of sense them. You can feel them. You can hear them breathe, and you can hear them eat their potato chips live. You can do that on live play, but yeah, it's not the potato chip that is important there, but just what I mean is that they are there. And when you're not there, there's something missing. But since the games I've been involved so far has been high quality games, I think it removes that little downside from live play. And it's very convenient to have that on YouTube, and if you want to record them, you know, right now I'm rewatching all the sessions of the Dark Eyes. I'm trying that, and it's a very special experience. Not only it's not like rereading your notes you take during game. It's simply rewatching the game as it was, and I really like that. I really enjoy that. So there's many convenient things about live plays. My well, public gaming, I will come back to it. Private gaming at home, I think it's my standard favorite. Okay, I like to have people at home. I like to play with people every week who are often at my place. They are there. They're moving. Okay, but it's more casual. Okay, the quality of players may not be as high as on live plays because you're playing with your friends and you're more tolerant with your friends. There's less focus when you are there for real. It's more a social gathering with people you appreciate. That's the way I see it. So, but it's a life experience. I think it's just how life is. Okay, you get with people to do something. Okay, and for me, it's role playing game. I could go fishing with them. I could play bowling with them. But we're playing role playing games, and we laugh, and we eat together, and we share stuff outside of the table. We are friends outside of the table, so it's a different experience. probably my favorite one, but if I only focus on the gaming part, I wish it would be they would be more involved in the game. But nevertheless, I enjoy it. As for public gaming, it's my least favorite for so far, but I have done that less than the others type. I used to do it in my local club, and usually when I happen to have a good group in a public gaming, I ask them to continue with me, and they become my private gaming group. But yeah, it's because you're a stranger, you have to hook them in some way. Sometimes they don't know what to expect of the game, and yeah, it may be more difficult. I think with practice, if I get involved into more of that, into conventions, there's not much conventions around here where I live. But if there happen to be conventions, I think I will try to attend to them, trying to be a game master and just practice that aspect, because I think there's something to gain from private gaming. Question 11. Any movies, TV shows or novels that you would like to either see ID stolen from or made into a game? Well, it's a French graphic novel that it's my all-time favorite, and I always dream of being a player in that, or even as a game master to create something like that, and it's called La Quête de l'Oiseau du Temps. If I translate that, it's Quest for Time Bird, but I think in English it was called Roxana. I'll try to put a link below. And it's a very thrilling series, a fantasy world, but a kind of strange fantasy world, but the way there's no elves, no dwarves, there are humans and other strange races and other strange creatures that were created for that world, but the sense of fantasy in it is intact. You have a sense of fantasy with some strangeness, but it doesn't feel strange, it feels natural. That series is very good. It's written by Serge Le Tendre and illustrated by Régis Loisel. It's a very great French graphic novel. I really, you should read that if you find it. Yeah, I would like to see that. Yeah, it's so well written that yeah, the fantasy aspect is as how we would want it, but all is different in there. 12. Negative things other players do that ruin your experience with this type of gaming. You know, I think noise, making noise. I have problem hearing. It's not that I'm having problem, but you know, I'm a musician, so I hear lots of stuff, and you know, noise. You know, if they're making noise and they just can't stop, they just can't realize that it's my turn to talk, it's my turn to play. That would be it. Spontaneously, I think it's that. And you know, players being immature, not behaving well around the table, you know, not behaving well in public. You know, we're supposed to be intelligent people around the table. We know how to behave and be polite to each other. But that's more stuff teenagers would do. You know, I'm playing with adults. Usually it goes well. 13. Negative things the MGMs do that ruin your experience. Yeah, well, two things. Music. I know that there's a lot of game masters who want to put music, but music, I can't stand that. You know, I'm a musician, I said it, and when there's music, my mind is working because I'm hearing the music and I'm playing it in my head. I could come back after a game, take my guitar and play exactly the song I have heard. So my focus is diverted to the music. So if a game master puts music, I ask him to, can you just cut it, okay? I don't need music. The other thing is when he does know his rules set enough and something happens and he has to open the book and search for a rule and stop the game. You know, when I'm playing, I'm skating. You know, I want the game to go forward and I'm into it. I'm focused. And you know, and when the game stops to check a rule, it's kind of putting a handbrake to my run, and And yeah, my focus, I wish the game master would eyeball this stuff more. That's the way I want that. Well, when they do, I let them go. But I think if it comes too often, yeah, my focus is lost, and I don't enjoy myself as much as I should. 14. What if anything can drive you away from a game? Well, I think I said it. An immature table. A table where people are just there to, not to game, just to do any other silly stuff, and being too out of characters, and always making a parody of what they're doing. Let's say they play Star Wars, but it's just a parody of everything. Having a R2-D2 with an electric cock. I've heard that in a video, and I think, yeah, I would say, oof, yeah, and the swearing all the time, and when it's not appropriate, and the behaviors that just don't work. I think I would just say, well, it's not my type, and I would just go away. 15. What got you into playing this type of game? Well, I have some videos talking about it. I began by reading fantasy game books. I was a big fan of that. And at my local library, there was an activity around those kind of books. But when I got there, I was put into a group that played Dungeons and Dragons. And then I discovered that it was like the fighting fantasy game books, but with endless choices instead of just having 2 or 3 choices. And that, it was your imagination all the way. You could do anything you want. So yeah, that's the way it entered into my life. 16. Tagging other players to respond this series of questions. I have some small list here. I may have other that I will add in the description, but the one that came spontaneously into my mind, I would like to tag SameOldG, Alex Swingle, Bash Biznett, and Billion6 if you didn't have been tagged yet. There may be other that I will add, and you will be messaged to if you want to get into that. So thank you, Condor DM, for that series tag of question. And yeah, seeing forward for your comments about that. I know that you're commenting with lots of text every answer. Yeah, I'm looking forward for your opinion about it. And thank you, and see you next time. As much fun in your life as in your game. Bye.